recent films is you can have a make-out or even close to like a sex scene, where back in those days they didn't have those.
No.
So they're having to basically discuss their love, which can be long and tedious. So I think that's made the film drag.
It became Victorian.
It did, and it dragged.
Well,
but I did feel their relationship was fine.
To be fair, it was 1914, and it was taken off a C. Forrester novel, an adapted novel.
In 1935, yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. But so those parts dragged. But there's, the part where, they've had to duck down while they're getting shot at by these African guys who've been trained by Germans. And that I could get because they're like going, yeah, whatever.
Sure. Yep.
And they're like hugging each other because like, we've survived. This is wonderful. That I can get. But just some of I'm constantly talking about how much I love you and how I feel about it were a bit long and tedious. So there's parts of the film where they just drag. You could probably knock out half an hour very easily.
Okay, well, I'm with you, but I'm more past where you are and further out on the outer edges of that. I think that
there was no chemistry.
No, not even that. The chemistry was very strange because I think, well, we've previously discussed in someone's look who's coming to dinner. Mm-hmm. And
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, thank you. And her obvious love for Spencer Tracy.
But you're implying that she can't then act appropriately for people that she doesn't love.
Wait for it. And Humphrey Bogart's wife, Lauren Bacall, who was there on set, on site in the Belgian Congo, cleaning all his underduds and everything like that with Lux soap. And she was there and she was like, very sick and still looking after him and everything like that. Because she was there, I am certain that he held back quite a lot, and I think she held back quite a lot as well.
Well, that means that they're not great actors then, if they can't.
No. I just think that they were genuinely in love with the people they were with, and...
But there's actors out there that are genuinely in love with the people they're married with or partnered with, and they still manage to give off chemistry on set because they're playing their character. They're not playing themselves.
Not when their wife's watching.
I found their relationship fine. Tedious and long in certain spots, but other parts were interesting. Like, as in when she goes... darling, what is your name?
Yep.
She's been calling him Mr. Allnut the whole time.
I don't think it's super important. I'm not worried.
It is super important. If you don't get where they're coming from, you're not invested in the film.
They tell us they're in love, and that's fine. That's enough for me. I don't care.
But you're not invested in their characters as to what happens to them.
It's 1951. We've seen, from that age period, we've seen one good film, and that was Casablanca.
That was a good film.
And that was a standout. And everything else, and he was in it, and he was better in that. But He was better in that, but you know what? He still thinks that the job that he did in African Queen was his... He got an Academy Award for this.
Yes, he did get an Academy Award for this.
And he thought that this was his best acting job.
Is that because of the Academy Award or because he enjoyed it much more?
I think it was possibly because everybody was sick around him.
And he wasn't.
And he was No, he wasn't sick. And the reason he wasn't sick was because he ate canned food and drank nothing but gin and bourbon. and he quipped that when the mosquitoes came down to bite him, that they would just fall off his arm drunk.
Boom, boom.
Yeah. So, he stayed almost constantly drunk the whole time when he was doing that.
That makes me laugh. It reminds me of there's so many other... I have to say Americans. I'm only saying Americans because that's the only...
Okay, Americans, please just...
I don't mean it in a...
She doesn't mean it. She doesn't know what she's saying.
No, but as in... I've only seen it through American documentaries, and the one I'm thinking about is the Penn and Teller one, where they went to Egypt to look at different magic stuff, and all they ate was canned food and bottled stuff.
That's right. That's the easiest way.
Like they didn't touch anything else.
You don't eat. Look, I've been to India.
There's another American one, but I can't think where it was.
And I can tell you that when you get the Delhi belly, it's not fun. And it doesn't matter how strong your constitution is. When it comes up against things like cholera and stuff like that, it's not used to it. So because it's like go into countries like that, and you will come into contact with malaria.
You've got to be very careful.
Juju, not choo-choo, bloody beriberi fever and all sorts of fevers, you know, that before antibiotics would just kill people outright. So they're serious, serious diseases.
Yeah.
You know, and they were, you know, antibiotics are only 10 years old at this stage of the game. They only started antibiotics in the Second World War, realistically.
Yes.
Penicillin.
Yep. No, I got that.
Yep. So, yes. So there wasn't a lot of defence against that
Did
stuff.
you like the way the film looked?
For its time, I thought it looked quite good. The boat was quite comical when it was a model going down the
no, it looked
rapids.
funny, didn't it?
It was quite comical.
I was sitting there going, huh.
And then you go, oh, it's 1951. It's fine. Whatever. I mean, Star Wars still looks pokey.
Oh, well, I mean, they've got models as well.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, give them a break.
Yeah.
You know.
What did you think of the music, Paul? Because I noticed that music. I noticed the music I was
not authentic.
reading over was
Yes.
not the music from the film.
The music shat me to tears. It really did. It was just this pokey little diddly, diddly, diddly.
They had a philharmonic orchestra, and some of it was put in a comical. They had comical music happening in a part that wasn't comical. They're coming down a river and there's rapids, and they're about to come up to German guns, and they're arguing over whether they should be actually doing this.
Yep.
And they've got.
I know.
I'm thinking that's really not
Because
relevant.
I think they only had the one theme.
No,
And-
there was more than one
was
thing,
there?
but it didn't.
I get the
link
feeling that
very
whoever
well.
was writing the music, somebody said to him, "Hey Mac, you know, can you write the music for a comedy going down
They had
the river?"
such a lovely orchestra, and they could have had some really big things.
Well, they tied the main theme to the chugging of the boat.
It didn't work.
No, because they did it badly, but that's what they were trying to achieve. You could hear it when they first took off.
Oh, yeah, no,
and
I
it was
got
running
that.
at the correct amount of revolutions was what it should have.
Yeah.
You could hear quite clearly that the chugging in the boat was in sync.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
of course,
that
for
was
the
only-
rest of the
but
film,
that was only at the start.
that's right. At the rest of the film, it's just all over the place. You know, it just didn't work.
Yeah.
But you know, so it failed musically. But you know what? Just excuse me for a moment. I've been holding off on that one for a while. I still liked it. You know,
There was parts
it's
of it
like
I
having
liked.
an uncle over who says bad things and, you know, and all the rest of it, but you can't help but like them anyway.
Because it was so much better than Bringing Up Baby.
Yes, it wasn't insulting to anybody outright,
I actually didn't mind.
except if you're German.
I found parts with Katharine Hepburn and Humphrey Bogart interesting. Not all of it, but I found parts of it really interesting. And the fact there's only two of them for ages
Yep.
is really interesting.
They're both good actors.
Yeah.
They're both good actors. And that's what I mean. I felt sorry for her because, like, at the start, she wasn't playing her best.
The start bit didn't work for me.
She was crook as a dog.
Okay, well,
She was crook as a dog.
but most people won't know that, so it makes it hard.
She shouldn't have been working at the time.
Well,
Crook as a dog.
you can't really say, I'm sorry, I'm taking 2 months off while you all hang out in Africa.
I won't ask you to go back and watch it again, but when she's sitting at the organ, the sweat that was coming off her was for real.
She had she's got the undergarments, then she's got the petticoat, then she's got the dress, long sleeve.
And she was in the Belgian Congo,
So it would have been hot and sweaty, let alone if
and
you're not
she
well.
had a temperature of 104 at the time. Or whatever it was, you know. It
You
was
mean like
quite,
38 or 39?
Yes, it was quite high.
Okay.
So, you know, on top of everything else. And she was crook, very, very crook. Okay, so, I liked it.
Okay, well, the
can't-
start was rubbish,
Yep,
but the rest of it was okay.
yep,
The music was rubbish,
yep.
but it was shot well except for the modelly bits where they're going down the rapids.
Were the leeches true?
No, they were not.
They were not.
No.
They were not.
No.
And that's because he did not want live
Do you know-
leeches on him.
Well, who does? I've had leeches on me. It's not nice.
Do you know a lot of things went wrong in that movie? They were attacked by hippos.
I mean, the
Yes, real hippos went after her because, you know, they
Oh,
had this
geez,
chugging.
no, I didn't know that.
Lots
there
of.
was that part where he's being enough, and I thought, oh my
Yeah,
gosh, that part was awful.
Yeah, well, you see one of those hippos. They
comes
stop
up to
that.
him, yeah.
They stop that scene, but it comes right at the boat, and they shut themselves. You know,
Well,
'cause-
you would. Hippos kill like more people in Africa than anybody else, right? Anybody else, any
yeah,
animal.
all sorts of things went wrong on that. So, They came away, and I think they were both happy to get out of the Belgian Congo at that stage of the game.
I can't imagine why.
But it was beautiful. Look, it's a beautiful, beautiful countryside. But, oh, geez, I'll tell you what, they suffered for it. Okay,
So how many stars would you give it, Paul?
Well, it's an old film.
Yes, it is.
There's a lot wrong with it.
Oh,
there is a lot wrong with it.
I wouldn't say a lot, but there's a
by today's standards.
Music.
By today's standards, there's a lot wrong with it.
The models, the start.
Yep.
Some of the slow bits in the I love you scenes.
It is a classic. Mm-hmm. It's one of the few films that Humphrey Bogart did in colour.
Most of it he did in black and white.
Yep, he preferred it, and I think he thought it probably made him look younger.
I thought he did. I love his facial expressions.
No, well, he's a good actor.
Yes.
I'll restate that again and again. He's a good, and so is Catherine. But I think
Casablanca was better.
It was, but I don't think they were under the amount of duress that they were when they were filming this. And so I'm inclined to give them a bit of a, straight through to the keeper for them.
So how many?
You know what? I'm going to give it a 5.5.
Okay.
Okay. When you sit down and watch this, it's not going to be great.
It's not too bad, though. It's not incredibly painful.
That's why it's a 5.5. If you approach it with the right frame of mind and go, it's old, they're very sick, and let's just take whatever pleasure we can get of it, there is pleasure there to be had. And that's fair. There is pleasure there. There's some good scenes
that are really good.
That's right. There's some good scenes in it.
I can understand why they fall in love on the river.
Yes, and in its day, it was a rollicking adventure story. And considering the tripe that was out there competing against it, that's why it stood out alone. And they were the megastars of their day.
Yes.
At that time, they were at the height of both of their performing careers. So
at that stage, yes.
Yes.
Well,
at the tail end, perhaps a little bit towards the tail end.
No, but Catherine did some great movies after that as well.
But she's an evergreen. She just kept on going. She went all the way through to the 90s, the 80s or whatever.
I was about to say 80s, yeah.
But Humphrey, I think he only did a few more films after that, and that was the end of him.
Oh, well, it depends. I don't know.
This is what happens when you keep making movies. Sooner or later, one of them will kill you. You make a movie and then you die 2 weeks later.
Boom, boom.
Yep.
I'm going to give it 5 stars.
Right.
Because there were bits that I actually, like when the certain dialogue that they had, not the long love scenes that were not love scenes, but some of their scenes on the river were really enjoyable. The first part was a bit painful and annoying.
Yep.
But the last bit too I actually enjoyed, even though it's a bit like, oh gosh.
Yeah, it's corny as fuck.
But I didn't mind it.
The movie is corny as fuck, but, by today's standards, it's corny as.
But I didn't mind it, so I'd give it a 5 stars.
Yes. So we came very close on that one.
5.5 stars from Paul and 5 stars from me.
I thought about giving it 5, but I just wanted to give him just...
Because it had Catherine
I just wanted to give him an
it.
elephant stamp of encouragement, because, like... they were under very trying circumstances, and Humphrey Bogart to one side, there wasn't a single person on the entire filming crew who wasn't crook as a dog.
Oh yeah.
Everybody was sick. I mean, everybody. Boom.
Well, that's what happens when you go out on site.
Yeah, and they were working in and around water
all the time. Yes, there would have been lots of mosquitoes,
lots of crocodiles, and lots of hippos.
I would have been more scared of the mosquitoes. To tell you the truth.
Yeah, probably. All right. Well,
going crazy.
Okay, so that's so what we got 5 and 5.5, very close
for the African Queen.
Last question I would ask though is: would you recommend it?
Oh gosh, it'd be hard. It depends on who it was.
You have to give the caveat. You have to say, "I recommend it." This is me. I say I would recommend it to people. It's a bucket list movie, so you can tick it off and say, yes, I've seen The African Queen, because there's so many cultural references to it.
I know. Yeah.
And so therefore you tick it, you grit your teeth, you sit down and watch it.
I'm glad I've sat and watched it. I'm glad I can say I've watched it.
Yep. It wasn't a super painful
No,
experience.
it wasn't
though.
a painful experience. I've had more painful experiences
That's
on this
right.
podcast.
Far more. Thank you very much for bringing up baby. Far more.
Well, that's what I mean.
Or Roma.